Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. Also welcome to the reading vlog for the September 2024 subscriber pick, which is Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Agisawa and translated from the Japanese into English by Eric Ozawa. And for those of you who don't know, subscriber picks are reading vlogs in which every month you choose a book from a poll on my community tab from among 4 or 5 options for me to read, vlog and share my thoughts about with you. And the book that you chose for the month of September 2024 was Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. The surprising thing is that this is a relatively new book on my TBR. I received this as a birthday gift in the month of July and I'm already reading it. I know. Like, I'm pretty proud of myself for that, but I also kind of put it up on that poll hoping that you would choose it for me, and you came through, so thank you for that. From the beginning of summer to early spring, I lived at the Morisaki Bookshop. I spent that period of my life in the spare room on the second floor of the store trying to bury myself in books. The cramped room barely got any light and everything felt damp. It smelled constantly of musty old books. But I will always remember the days I spent there, because that's where my real life began. And I know without a doubt that if not for those days, the rest of my life would have been bland, monotonous and lonely. The Morisaki Bookshop is precious to me. It's a place I know I'll never forget. I don't think anything else needs to be said. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this reading vlog and let's read the subscriber pick that you have chosen for me for the month of September 2024, which is Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, which is written by Satoshi Agisawa and translated into English from the Japanese by Eric Ozawa. What is wrong with this guy? The dumb thought popped into my head that if only all these tears were real, I'd be rich. But it was so dumb that it made me cry more. I'm laughing at someone else's plight. What is wrong with me? But it was funny, yeah. This guy is completely unhinged in his own way, okay? I don't know how this name is pronounced, but it's Hideaki? Because I hate him already. It's just been 4 pages and I hate him. So I just finished chapter 1 of Days at the Morisaki Bookshop and I'm really liking the tone of the book. I mean, it's just 8 pages, but I really like how it is irreverent to how sort of a breakup story and my life is down in the dumps story is supposed to go. I really like the humor, at least in the few pages that I've read. Yeah, it's encouraging because I had seen a few people on, I think, Bookstagram say that this is okay, it is nothing new in here, but what is wrong if there's something familiar in a book? That's okay. As long as it's done well, I don't think that's something that I will be complaining about. I don't know about other people, that's their choice, their opinion, because what works for them will be different from what will work for me. So Takako has just been dumped by an ass of a boyfriend who was actually seeing someone else this whole time and was actually intending to marry that other someone, and he dumps her. Not even dumps her, he says that he is getting married next year. So she's like, shouldn't that be a mutual agreement sort of thing? And what is this? I'm getting married to her, someone else. And then he's like, just because I'm getting married doesn't mean that we shouldn't see each other. Yeah, shut up. And then She gets a call from her uncle Satoru, who runs the Morisaki Bookshop in Jimbocho, and he offers her a place to live because after all of that, she has also quit the job because she can't take both of them running around and coming in front of her. The ass also has the audacity to say, just because you quit doesn't mean we can't get dinner, right? So I'm like, she is wallowing in her sorrow and she gets this call and she hasn't spoken to her uncle in a decade and now she's wondering what to do. But he's like, I'm not taking no for an answer. Come on, because rents are high, this and that and all of that. You'll be able to help me out with the bookshop as well. So that's where we're at. So there is a middle-aged man who came to the bookshop. I mean, Takako is opening the bookshop for her uncle. This is the first morning. And he says, oh wow, how did I not know that all this time Satoru had a cute young niece? And then I flashed a sweet smile. Maybe he was a sweet old guy after all. He seemed pleasant enough and what's more, he had good taste. That comes out as creepy on a few levels for me personally. Okay. So, I finished reading chapter 2 of Days at the Morisaki Bookshop and I am enjoying it, but there's also like a few places where I'm like, huh? But on the whole, it's just getting started, so I don't have many other things to say about this book. I'm hoping that I'll laugh more, that I'll feel more, that I'll love Takako's journey and the progress that she makes in her reading life, because she is not a reader, and because of that she hears a lecture from a regular customer who comes into the shop when her uncle isn't there. So that's where I'm at in this book right now. This has about 147 pages. I just finished page 20, so it's not going to take that long a time for me to read this book. So I'm hoping that happens, that I finish this quickly, because I'm very intrigued. Hi, hello. So I have been reading Days at the Morisaki Bookshop and I am currently on page 44. And this is following Takako, who is now living with her uncle, and we see how her attitude towards her uncle is and how it changes over these next few however many pages. There are so many quotable quotes in these pages that it sort of made me want to just stop and read them over and over again, because so many of them relate to us as readers and it sort of calls to something inside of us. So let me read out one to you. It was a joy to feel connected to someone I felt I had so little in common with. It thrilled me even if it was just with someone like my uncle. No, it thrilled me even more because it was someone like him. It was as if, without realizing it, I had opened a door I had never known existed. And then later, and there was no danger I'd run out of books, no matter how much I read. And later, and yet for all I read, I found book after book that I still wanted to read. Hard relate. For every bookworm, every reader, that's a hard relate. Because no matter how much we read, we will still have thousands of books that we want to read. We will never run out of books. We will not read all the books that we want to read in this lifetime, but also we have the choice. We have that library, even if it's not in our own homes, even if it's not personal. And I love that. And it's not just quotes about books. There are some gems about life in general which I really liked. I mean, some of these can be pretty basic, but then again, who am I to judge? Maybe it takes a long time to figure out what you're truly searching for. Maybe you spend your whole life just to figure out a small part of it. It's important to stand still sometimes. Think of it as a little rest in the long journey of your life. This is your harbor, and your boat is just dropping anchor here for a little while. And after you're well rested, you can set sail again. Imagine thinking of life and of inaction, about our need for inaction in such a way. In such a positive way. It might seem too optimistic and too like life is beautiful kind of thing when actually the world is burning, but this sort of instills in you a kind of hope. Maybe life is good after all. I mean, I'm not any closer to believing that, but yes. And then No matter where you go or how many books you read, you still know nothing. You haven't seen anything. And that's life. We live our lives trying to find our way. It's like that Santoka Tanira poem, the one that goes on and on, in and in, and still the blue-green mountains. It feels like I'm... Okay. It feels like I'm only reading quotes out of this book at this point, but you know, that kind of feeling when you have when you read a book and you find everything that you've ever thought, but an author has already said it and in a much more eloquent manner than you ever could. That's what's happening here. It is simple but eloquent. So I will be reading a bit before I go to sleep. It's pretty late, but I want to read a bit. I want to see what happens to Takako and what she decides to believe and where her life takes her. So I just finished reading part 1 of Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, and oh my god, it's so heartwarming, it's so sweet, it's so brilliant. Like, it's simple but it's very sweet, and that quote is not even that, oh my god, heartbreaking or something like that. It's like a very innocent looking quote, but I just felt that bubbling up inside of me. Let me see if I can find it. Satoru, the uncle, is telling Takako about how he came to be handling Morisaki Bookshop, and he tells her a lot of these things, and then he comes to, it felt like if this place was gone, then all of my memories would disappear too. I couldn't handle that. You know, there are these things that you find in books that you sort of start relating it to your own life, even if it isn't about to happen. What if this were ever to happen to me? And that very possibility is enough to send you on a deep spiral. And that's exactly what happened. And the more I read it, the more I thought, oh my god, no. And then the more the tears came. Like, the tears were coming from my gut, you know what I mean? They were coming from deep inside me. And if a book can make you feel that, even in the simplest of words, then that's a good book. And I'm hoping that the rest of the book also is like this. I actually didn't think that this was going to be told in 2 parts. I mean, I don't remember that there was a part 1 at the beginning of the book, and then when part 2 came, I went back and saw, and lo and behold, there was a part 1. But I didn't think that Takako's story, at least the main story that I've been narrating to you, is in part 1. Part 2, there's something else. Like, there's a character who is mentioned in part 1 who returns and all of that thing. I feel like I need to be whispering about this book because it's that good. I'm feeling a kind of reverence towards it. I don't know why. Hi, hello. So I just finished reading Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, and I am so conflicted about this book. I can't even begin to tell you, because the first half of the book was great. I really enjoyed it. It was, despite the okay translation, it felt like, because the sentence structures and all, and I'm putting it down to the translation issue. Despite all that, there was a kind of feeling to the first half. But the second half, even though it does have that kind of feeling, it felt a little too regressive for my liking, because there's a character who comes back, who is mentioned in the first half, and who appears in the second half, and the way the character is treated and the way the reasoning behind the character's actions are given, it sort of rather pulls back into the old patriarchal stereotypes, but then again it also tries to kick back into it. When you bring that issue into everything, it sort of becomes like, what are you on about? Why do you keep harping on these kind of things? But then again, that character is also not very likable. It doesn't mean whatever is happening or whatever they think, it isn't valid, but my issue is with I don't even know who my issue is with at this point, because everybody is entitled to have their own opinion about that topic. But then again, I just think that there's this whole chain link thing that's going on, because this comes and then we are like, okay, but, and then this comes and then there's again, but then again, and it's a whole sort of thing, and then at the end you don't even know where you stand about this book. But my thing is, as a society, as a people, as human beings, we are moving forward, we are progressing. So if you call yourself modern, then you should also reflect that. But then again, just because one thing is right doesn't mean the other thing is wrong, right? It's just that the depiction of it, to generalize it and to sort of make it feel like only that one thing is correct, because that has been happening for ages, for millennia, to a section of society, to half of society. And I'm trying very hard not to give away what it is, but I don't know if you can make out. But I think that's the one of the only issues that I have, other than the fact that the second half is sort of, it just meanders all over the place. Like, I don't think there is a place in the book where I was like, I want to read this, I want to find out what's going on. My thought in the first half was, oh wow, I want to keep coming back to the Morisaki Bookshop. The second half instead, it just made me feel like, how many more pages are there to go? And that is not a good thing. But as is tradition, and as has been going on with this book for however much time I have been speaking, I would still recommend this book, because one, it is light, easy breezy. Two, it does make some very nice warm points. Like, it's not like out of the world, you've never heard this before kind of thing, but it's sweet. Three, it's because it's a short book. It's like 147 pages. So maybe these will, help ease you into Japanese literature. So basically what I'm saying is that I would recommend this, but I would also say don't go into it with too many expectations. Maybe that was my mistake. Like, I was like, oh my god, I want to spend my time at Morisaki Bookshop. Yes, I spent my time at Morisaki Bookshop, but what happened in that Morisaki Bookshop? What were the people doing in that? The people who came in, the people who lived there. So that sort of took me out of my own mind. So yes, that was my reading vlog for the subscriber pick for the month of September, which was Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. What did you think of this reading vlog? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have you read Days at the Morisaki Bookshop? If you have, what did you think of it? If you haven't, will you pick this book up after watching my vlog? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.